as you said, think about what it would be like if you were an atheist. And in a sense, it's a very bleak outlook on your future, because once you die, that's it, you're dead. Once humanity is extinct, that's over with. And so, you wind up in a mindset of nihilism, right? There's nothing, beyond this lifetime. And so with transhumanism, it actually creates an eschatology for an atheist. It gives actually hope, purpose, and destiny for individuals, but also for humanity as a species. And, and I think implicit in the thinking of many people that are advocating for transhumanism is this recognition that somehow human life is really valuable and that humanity as a species is really special, because nobody is lamenting the fact that maybe one day, animals are going to go extinct. I mean, people are concerned about that, but nobody is looking at what do we do to extend the life expectancy, of wildebeests in of Africa or something like that, or what can we do to improve the quality of these animals' lives? And so we're willing to throw an enormous amount of resources, and this goes beyond just simply survival of the species or survival instinct. This is something that's much more deeply rooted, where, there's a recognition that there's really genuine value to human life. And so, the transhumanist agenda is extremely appealing, because it means that me as an individual, I can somehow still persist. I can still exist. And that's viewed as being, extremely important and extremely valuable, or that humanity will not disappear, but will still persist in some form, so that we can, ultimately accomplish our destiny as a species. Many transhumanists see humanity populating, the totality of the universe, particularly if you achieve the singularity of Ray Kurzweil, that would then create the pathway by which you could live forever in a machine context and explore all kinds of areas of the universe that otherwise would be uninhabitable for a biological organism. But for a machine, that machine could thrive in those environments or persist in those environments. And so, you begin to see something really that's exposed in the transhumanist agenda about our fundamental needs as human beings, which is hope, purpose, and destiny, which is precisely what the gospel offers.
So let's try and so we'll say like the spacefaring. So when we say transhumanist in this sense, we'll mean the spacefaring, live forever type person. So when a transhumanist says they want to live forever, how long do they actually mean like that? How long do they want their consciousness to be aware?
When they say they want, I think the idea would be that they would desire to persist for as long as is practically possible. I mean, eventually the universe is going to succumb to heat death. As the universe continues to expand, eventually we'll reach the point where the expansion will be so rapid and so extensive that the universe will in effect experience some kind of heat death. So there's ultimately no hope and purpose and destiny for an atheist beyond the physical existence of this universe. So the hope would be to persist as long as possible within the universe prior to the time where consciousness no longer would be physically possible. And of course, this is, again, a counterfeit eschatology in the sense that it really falls short of what Christianity offers, which is an eternal existence, in the presence of the Lord and the people that are part of the Lord's family as his disciples, as his children. So it's a very rich eschatology that's being offered by the Christian worldview, and a rather meager one, frankly, that's offered by a transhumanist vision. But nevertheless, if it's that or essentially extinction, your existence terminating, and so people who have an atheistic worldview would rather have, this limited eternal life, if you will, this limited immortality than to die young, I suppose.
So everything that we can relate to is basically biological humanity. When they say they want to persist forever, do they mean in a biological form or in a machine form?
I think the most reasonable view, I mean, if you're a transhumanist, if you want to live for an extended period of time, it's going to have to be free from the biological form, and it's going to have to be in a machine context, with the assumption is that our consciousness can be uploaded with integrity into a machine framework. I think that's a big if. And as a Christian who sees humanity as being both material as well as immaterial, that we have a biological component and a spiritual component. I don't think, and our consciousness is intertwined with our spiritual makeup. I don't think we're ever going to be able to upload our conscious into a machine framework. I'm highly skeptical of that because of my worldview. But for people that are, transhumanists who see the brain and the mind as being the same thing, or sees the mind as an emergent property that, arises out of the complexity of the brain, they operate with the view that, hey, this idea of uploading my mind is absolutely a possibility. And of course, when you see advances that are happening in computer brain interface technology, where you can develop these interfaces that allow people to control computer hardware and software with their minds, with their brain activity, that then allows them, because of the internet, to begin to exert influence in a non-local manner, where they can have influence over events that are happening in another part of the world, that they could, in principle, interact and engage other minds in virtual reality, for example. And so those kinds of technological advances that are happening, which have all, again, very good medical uses, can also, again, fuel the prospects or the hope of the transhumanist agenda. And so for me, it's not always so much what can we actually do technologically, but it's what people believe we can do technologically that's going to really shape the way they think about things like transhumanism. And so if you think a mind upload is possible, and the work in computer brain interface technology nudges you towards that direction, then you likely are going to be putting your faith in the hope that one day we will be able to upload our mind, and that will actually be, the source of our salvation.